So with that, I think we can start today's session. So basically the way we usually do our programs is that this time we also have included something called a mini test for people who've done our emotional intelligence programs. I'm sure you remember having taken an online test which was for 30 minutes. For this batch, we have introduced that because all of you are going to be happiness practitioners. There's a lot of theoretical insights that we will be sharing because the predominant concept is the science of happiness, right? So as future practitioners, let's say if you want to take sessions or you want to do training or you want to do coaching, or even if you want to implement some of these practices at your workplace, you should have thorough knowledge of the concepts. So that tomorrow nobody challenges you, and if they do, you have enough knowledge to back it up with. So keeping that in mind, after your level 2 completes, there will be an online test. So I would request all of you to keep your notepad handy so that you write things down, just so that you can actively remember things, because it just helps when you're physically writing things on a piece of paper than just memorizing things. You tend to forget. So always have something with you so that you can physically write, and we'll have you take an online test after the 10 days. So on the last day, which will be the 10th day of level 2, will be your test, which will be a combination of everything you've gone through in both the levels. We will also have exercises, so it's not going to be theoretical. There are going to be a lot of exercises, and we would do all exercises live. Some exercises will be homework, but predominantly most of the exercises we would like all of you to do it as a group, because at least we believe that if you do it live, it stays with you faster. If we kind of give it as a homework, it kind of keeps on postponing because life comes in the way, right? So we'll be doing that as part of the program. Okay, let's start with today's session. I will just open up the presentation so that we can take you through what will be covered. Just a minute, I think.
Excuse me, ma'am, just a question to clarify. Will there be any training materials shared with the participants?
Yeah, so we don't have any manual for happiness, but we do have exercises and other notes that we will be sharing as part of the program. So that will be sent to you as a PDF or, as a soft copy through mail. So that we will do.
Thank you.
Please don't call me ma'am Mani. No, ma'am, call me Bharti. I'm nobody's ma'am. I'm learning along the way. All right, great, awesome. So let's dive into what we will be covering in level 1, what we will be covering in the next 5 days, so that all of us are together on the same level. We will be covering concepts of what is happiness, origins and evolving meaning of happiness, what we get wrong about happiness. We will also explore our flow states through a couple of exercises. So what is a flow state and how can you explore that? Cognitive biases that keep us unhappy, neuroscience and happiness, what is subjective well-being and its link with happiness, happiness and spirituality that Sita will take you through an entire section, and how can you build resilience and adversity quotient, which we also call as AQ, right? So the next 5 days, this is what we will be covering. Level 2, we will be covering something else. When we reach to level 2, then we'll kind of explore that along. All right. Now coming to your assessments. You don't have to share this with us. We already have your tests or the results of this. Take it with a pinch of salt. I wouldn't say all assessments are accurate, but we have developed this in-house with a bit of research. So more or less the accuracy should be there. We may falter, but these are the scores and you can take a look wherever you are. This is for you and you alone. You don't have to share or discuss it with anybody else. All right, let's take you through the scores. So if your score is between 1 to 1.99, not happy. If you answered honestly and got a very low score, you're probably seeing yourself and your situation as worse than it really is. It's strongly recommended that you be screened for depression. 2 to 2.99, somewhat unhappy. Exercises like doing a gratitude journal or gratitude list are a starting point. We will do that also as part of the program. 3 to 3.99, not particularly happy or unhappy. A score of 3.5 would be an exact numerical average of happy and unhappy responses. 4 to 4.49, somewhat happy or moderately happy, satisfied. This is what the average person scores. 4.5 to 4.99, rather happy, pretty happy. 5 to 5.99, very happy. Being happy has more benefits than just feeling good. It's correlated with benefits like health, better relationships, and attaining your goals. And if somebody has scored 6, too happy, research suggests that there's an optimal level of happiness, and that being too happy may be associated with lower levels of such things. So being too happy is also sometimes a problem. Okay, so this is just a snapshot of where we are. Wherever, whatever score you are, if it is extremely low, something to think about. If it is on an average level, then fine, we can probably do something to increase our levels of happiness over a period of time. And if you're too happy, then maybe we can learn something from you. All right, okay, great. Now Sita, you can also come on the video probably, because I want to kind of give a perspective on why our organization started this program, because there's always, there needs to be a why we are doing anything, right? Why did Trainer Collective begin an entire program on happiness? So personally for me, I was trying to figure out why, when I have been unhappy, why I have been unhappy, and if unhappiness is a sustainable state, if it can be changed or not. Not just for myself, it obviously started with my level of unhappiness for whatever reason in the past, and me trying to figure out why some people are unhappy while some people are able to remain happy even during the same phases of life, right? So the science has a lot of new insights to teach us about that. That is why we as a group are here to understand more about ourselves as individuals and as well as a group. Can science really help us teach ourselves to be relatively more happier than what we were yesterday or day before? And can we teach this to somebody else also, right? Because all of you are doing a certificate program as practitioners, which means that I'm assuming all of you would like to share this knowledge with others also, either as a trainer or a coach or as part of your trainings, whatever works for you. Second, we as a society desperately need it. This is probably the first time globally, and I think we've spoken about this in our webinar also. I think Kavita attended one of the free webinars where we spoke about the Global Happiness Report and why this is the first time in many years that the world is seeing more unhappy and depressed people than ever before. So something is going wrong, something needs to be rectified. What is it is something we'll probably figure out as we go along the way. And just inquisitiveness to understand if happiness can be learnt and taught. Because as practitioners, even when we launched the program, we got a lot of backlash from people saying this is not something that will work. How can you teach me happiness? This is not something that I can teach others, the things of that nature. Just because people believe that happiness cannot be quantified, just like emotional intelligence cannot be quantified. But now we have tools to measure it, and whenever you have tools, you can actually share it with others to tell them that, hey, it's not something that can just be learned, but you can also teach it to others, right? So this is probably the reason why Sita and I kind of started on this journey. Now, what this program is and what it isn't, so that we can have clarity going ahead, because I'm sure there are different people who might have different expectations, but I want all of us as a group to be on the same level. There are certain things that we will be able to add value, there are certain things we might not be able to, so it's just best to lay out the expectations and what we can deliver from the get-go. So what is this program? It is a science-based approach grounded in positive psychology, research and evidence. So for everything we teach you, we will be giving you evidence, because we, at least as an organization, believe that there is always a logic behind something. a holistic framework which will address happiness through multiple dimensions of emotional, psychological, social, physical, and purpose-driven components. And Sita will also take you through an entire section of spirituality and happiness, which is a very important component for somebody who's interested in learning about happiness. Skill development, since all of you are practitioners, how can you use this to facilitate interventions within your organizations or as part of your training for all those who are interested in training or are already trainers? And personal transformation, where you experience it firsthand before you deliver it to somebody else. So you should preach only things that you practice. If you don't, then there's no point of doing any of this whatsoever. So this is what you can expect from the program. What you can't expect or what we can't deliver is quick fixes or happiness hacks without substantive foundation. Toxic positivity, where you are encouraged suppression of negative emotions or suggesting people should be happy all the time. There's a lot of programs happening around. There are a lot of people talking about toxic positivity while we should be happy and happiness is the end goal. We don't promote that as an organization. Spiritual replacement, we are not positioning ourselves as a spiritual practice or a religious alternative. And this is also not a substitute for professional mental health treatment for clinical conditions, right? So if you or someone you know is going through a clinical condition, please reach out to a counselor or a psychiatrist. This program might not be able to give you all the answers. So let me just put that from the beginning. All right, great. So now that we have everything out of the gate, let's start by asking each of you what happiness means to you. And I would like to hear from everybody just to understand what it means. So whoever wants to go can start, and then we can go one by one.
I can start.
Yeah, go ahead, Hitar.
For me, it's acceptance.
Acceptance. I remember you having shared.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, acceptance. Okay, yes. Lynette?
Yes. Can I start?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Happiness to me is being in harmony.
Okay, being in harmony. Okay, awesome. Okay. Kavita?
Being neutral in both good and bad situation.
Very interesting. Okay, yes. All right, being neutral in both good and bad. Pratima?
Hi. So for me, happiness is, be myself.
Being yourself. Okay, so being your
Yeah,
authentic
being
self.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah, being myself. Yes.
Okay, okay. Awesome. Yes, Rajesh?
Uh, For me, it is doing something which goes by my value system. Like, I have a value system, and if I do anything which is close to that, I'll be more happy. If there is a gap in it, I will be unhappy.
Okay, okay. Interesting. Okay. Yes, who else? Let's go to.
I think it is fulfillment and meaning in life, increased productivity and creativity that can come with it.
Okay, so what does it mean to you? What does happiness mean to you if you were just to briefly describe to me?
For me, when I'm with a positive mindset and able to focus and increase my work and creativity, and I fulfill my values, gratitude, small joys and small things that will lead to a long-term this thing also. It's not just at a particular state.
Right. Okay. Okay. Got it. Yes, Saraswati?
To me, happiness is a sense of fulfillment, contentment, and joy. When I'm very pleased with myself, the way I am doing things and the joy it brings to me.
Okay. 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 Yes, money.
For me, it means good relationship without expectation and stress-free.
Okay. Good relationships without expectations. Okay. Awesome. Am I leaving somebody? Okay.
Yes, can I share, please?
Yes. Who? Come on the video now. Who is this?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Am I on the video right now?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
All right. Yes, hi. So for me, happiness means when I'm self-expressed, and I get a lot of happiness when I'm making a difference. It gives me a lot of joy. So that's the meaning of happiness to me.
Okay. So you've just joined. Could you briefly introduce yourself to the group? Just give me your
Yes,
name,
I'm
where you're
sorry.
from.
Yes, I got late. I got delayed because I was held up for a medical issue that my mother had. So my name's Sadia, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm currently in Bangalore, and apart from running my own enterprise, which is a 20-year-old business by the name of Lotus Eaters, I'm also a nutritionist. I'm also a life coach, and yes, it gives me great pleasure to be a part of this training. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Sadia, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right. So now that we know what happiness means to you, let's answer the next question. Can someone be happy without feeling fulfilled or purposeful? Why or why not? Think about it. Whoever wants to answer can. Can someone be happy without feeling fulfilled or, there's no sense of purpose? They're just happy. If yes, then why? If not, then why not?
Can I share here again?
Sure. Go ahead.
So when I'm sharing, I'm just sharing it from my life and my experience. So there are many times when I'm not feeling fulfilled or purposeful, especially when it comes to, since I'm a business owner and I'm a parent of teenagers, sometimes it can feel so purposeless and you can feel so unfulfilled. But I find that even in those times when I'm feeling low, happiness then becomes a choice for me. And it's something that I choose for myself. And it's something that I feel it's something that I can create in spite of the circumstances. So I still feel that I have the power. And I no longer am the victim at those times. So, and that's really how I choose to be happy. So
Right.
for me, it's a moment to moment choice that I make in spite of wherever I am. And when I do that, I find that things somehow just begin to fall in place, or at least I have a certain a certain sense of understanding of what's happening around me.
That's very interesting. She mentioned about choice. So we'll talk about how happiness is a choice. Thank you, Sadia, for mentioning that. Anybody else?
I think happiness is deeper, sustained when it comes with purpose. But happiness without purpose is also possible, but it will be short-lived. Maybe I met an old friend on the road, spoke for 5 minutes. There is no purpose in it, but you feel very happy.
Right.
Or
So
it could be just at the spur of that moment.
got it.
Comes and generally comes from very external sources, whereas happiness with purpose and in the long term will come from within.
Thank you for sharing that, Ramesh, because we'll be talking about the different types of happiness. So thanks for that perspective. We can take one more before we move to the next question. Anybody else would like to share their insights on this?
Can I?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So to me, I think being too happy or being happy all the time is not possible. And if someone is happy all the time, something is wrong. So only when there is a purpose and there is fulfillment and you're happy from within, you can be happy. So we cannot. It is a fluctuating and a dynamic emotion that keeps fluctuating. Therefore, I feel we cannot be happy without feeling fulfilled or purposeful.
Okay, very interesting. I think all of you are already practitioners. I don't need to teach you anything. Okay, great.
I think the law of diminishing marginal utility will apply if we are happy all the time.
Exactly, Ramesh.
And we will lose the meaning of happiness.
Correct,
Absolutely.
correct.
We cannot be happy all the time.
You can't,
We
you
need
can't.
to.
Yes,
Yeah.
rightly put. I do agree. Or everybody who preaches be happy, be positive, be this, it's all, you can't. We also don't preach that. So thanks for sharing that. All right, let's move on to the next question. If you had to choose between a life of pleasure or a life of purpose, which would you choose and why? Anyone. So there's no
I would
goal.
choose life of purpose when I'm in my career. Now, when I'm moving towards retirement, I think the purpose will come down, the pleasures will go up. With my son, children getting married, having grandchildren, and things of that sort. Maybe a few freelancing work which I will do for purpose, and most of it will be pleasure.
Okay, great. All right. Yes, Hetal?
I agree with him.
Okay, great. So we have two for what Ramesh mentioned. Okay.
But again, I also equally believe that, we have to get up with a purpose in life every day of our life. Every day of our life. Otherwise, life is not interesting. Honestly, the moment I open my eyes, people say you have to pray to the Almighty and all. At the moment I open my eyes, I just, in my mind, I list down what all good things I have in the agenda for the day. So I get up with a purpose. So that makes me happy, and I look forward to the day unfolding itself.
Okay.
Maybe we can't have any one thing in life. It will be a combination of both.
Yeah.
At the point in different stages in life, it will be in different sides of the.
Right. So I wanted to understand from the rest, where are you? Where are you more towards? Yes.
For me, I feel purpose equals to pleasure.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, whenever I reach my goal, it gives me pleasure. I'm happy with it. So.
Okay. Yeah, Lynette?
Yeah. I would like to agree with Ramesh sir that first you have each stage of your life where you have to go through the pleasure, and then comes the purpose. So that's how you know what things work, what don't work, and then you have your purpose. So it can differ from people to people, age to age, from every aspect of our life. We keep changing. So pleasure is never constant, neither is purpose. So we learn through pleasure our purpose, and we know where we fit in.
Okay. All right. So I think most of us are on the same wavelength as Ramesh rightly put. Okay, great. We have an idea. I think this has been answered by Saraswati, but I'd like everybody else to pitch in. Can happiness be sustained over time, or does it tend to fluctuate?
I think it can be sustained. You can give a different name in. Just as we say anger and something, there is a different word at a higher grade, we call it something else when it develops too much. Similar is our happiness and peace and thing can be sustained over a long time, but we need to have in between the other emotions also. Otherwise, as I said before, diminishing marginal utility will tend to apply.
Okay.
If one thing is a continued state of flow.
Okay. All right. Any other takers?
I think it's also what you define happiness as. It's actually a very general term. Like, for me, as I said, happiness is acceptance. If happiness is acceptance, then obviously it wouldn't fluctuate in that sense, because no matter what the circumstances, You
You're
eventually
happy.
gonna accept and then you're happy. But then having said that, your first emotion of anger, frustration, whatnot is definitely going to be there. But then it's how quickly you manage it, I suppose. So it really depends on what you define happiness as, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Kavita?
Ethel, I think even if you define happiness as acceptance, the same person might have differ an opinion with you, or has a choice over you to somebody else, and then we'll feel the opposite also. It can't be the same with everybody every time. This is what I wanted to say too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Kavita?
I agree that happiness, it cannot be sustained over the time because we have different events happening in our life. So we cannot be sustain the same levels of happiness all the time. Like a business cycle, it's up and down. Depends on the events, situations, circumstances that we are.
Okay. All right. Sadia, you want to pitch in?
I agree with Kawita that it will fluctuate with circumstances. But I wouldn't say that it's not sustainable. I believe that it is sustainable, and again, it has to do with you making that as your choice.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So this was just a couple of questions. I just wanted to, understand where your mind is in terms of, since these are more or less the themes that we will be covering as part of the program. So just understanding where you are in terms of your frame of mind helps us understand, like Hetal mentioned, happiness is very subjective. How you define it depends from person to person. For Lynette, it could be something else. For Saraswati, something else. Rajesh, Pratima, Sadia, it could be something for all of you, right? Some of you probably might not even have the right words to describe it. It's just, you could just physically say that I'm happy or I'm not. So is it how we feel at the moment? It comes and it goes. Is it how we want to feel eventually? There are a lot of people who are waiting to be happy. I was one of those people that when I achieve this, I will be happy. When my company grows to this, I will be happy. So just waiting for that, constantly postponing this happiness for when the right moment comes. Is it a balance of emotions we experience each day? Like Kavita was mentioning, depends on the event of the day. It comes up and down, right? Like a wave. Is it contentment, like Saraswati was mentioning, arising from our material possessions or without, right? Contentment could be, I may not have anything in the world and I'm still content. Is it a feeling of wellness of our body? Are we happy when we are ill or mentally disturbed? Which is a very interesting question, because when things are good, it's easier to be happy. But when things are bad, like really bad, can we be happy? And like Sadia was mentioning, it is a choice, right? So happiness is a choice. You choose to be happy despite XYZ events happening in your life. Is it euphoria when we achieve our goals? That high that you get probably when your best team wins, that euphoria, that moment of, I think Hetal would probably agree with me. In emotional intelligence, we have various levels, right? And euphoria is like the highest level of, oh my God, things cannot be better than this. Is it a sense of betterment when we see the misfortune of others? So for everybody, if you see down, there's a word called Schadenfreude, right? Can you see it? Schadenfreude. So it's basically a German word. It basically means that I derive happiness from your pain, right? So some people are very sadistic. Like my happiness depends on how unhappy you are, because I'm always in this space of comparing myself. So Schadenfreude is a German word that they developed saying that I am happiest when you are the most unhappiest. So is it that? It could be for some people, we don't know. Is it the headiness we experience when we are praised and lauded? Somebody compliments you, you feel a sense of, oh, can that be described happiness? Is it a feeling of fulfillment? I think some of you mentioned that word. many times. When we see our loved ones prosper and flourish, is it feeling of palpable satisfaction we experience when we help others? Some people derive happiness just by being altruistic, just by helping others. So kindness or being generous is also taken as a selfish quality because it selfishly makes you happy when you help others. So is it that, right? So these are just questions to, I would say, reflect upon. We are on this quest to figure it out. There's no right or wrong. All of you have different meanings and definitions of this depending on where you are in life. Some of my relatively older friends who are nearing retirement or are there probably are more purpose driven. Probably someone relatively younger is in that chase of I have to get. It's more pleasure right now, and then I'll think about purpose. So different ages, different things to learn. That's why I think we have this group so that we can learn from each other, right? Because different people come with different years of experience and wisdom, and you can help somebody else figure that out also. So let's start with the origins and meaning of happiness. Now, this is for you as a practitioner. Nobody down the line is going to ask you the definition of happiness. But since we are investing and taking the time to learn about it, let's learn it the right way. You can write this down. Obviously, the recordings will be shared with you. But if you think there's something worth noting, write it down, something that sticks with you. So what is the origin and etymology of happiness, right? So happiness basically started with this word called luck. We all know what luck is, right? We call somebody lucky, suggesting that our ancestors believed that happiness was largely a byproduct of luck. So the evolution was, it started with luck, that either you're lucky or you're not. There was no word called happiness as such. It was luck, right? So it was seen as a bonus that maybe you're lucky, maybe you're not. Either it happens or it doesn't. It's like black or white. So it's a striking fact that in every Indo-European language, without exception, going all the way back to ancient Greek, the word for happiness is cognate. You can write it down, C-O-G-N-A-T-E, which means connected, right? Cognate. We are connected. Happenstance, if you know the word happenstance, things just happen, right? So hap is the Old Norse and Old English root of happiness. So happiness, you have hap, right? And it means luck. So if you divide the word happiness, the hap basically means luck or happenstance, luck by chance. There's some movie, I don't know, some movie for all my Bollywood friends, right? Giving us born here good fortune or happiness. So the origin was basically happenstance, right? Luck. German gives us the word Gluck, G-L-U-C-K. That's what they call it, which to this day means both happiness and chance. So German is a very interesting language if anybody has ever learned, because it's able to talk about various things that an English language might not be able to express, right? So I don't think there is a word in English for happiness and chance. It could be happenstance, I don't know. But German came with the words of Gluck. So whenever they want to express that somebody is happy, probably they use the word Gluck, G-L-U-C-K. All right, now towards the right of the slide, let's go through it. What is happiness? And we'll talk about this more or less when we and you can also write the references, guys. There's a guy called Derek McMahon, 2006. This is for all your researchers who want to research in deep dive, because we've taken references from people and books. So if anybody wants to go, and probably he's written a book on happiness, go on Amazon, just type his name, Darren McMahon. You will get a lot of more information. This is just for people who want to a little bit more deep dive than just this. So happiness is a state. It's not a trait. It is not a long-lasting, permanent feature or personality trait. It's not a characteristic or a personality trait of an individual, but a more fleeting, changeable state. So that question, does it fluctuate? Yes, it does. It's a changeable, fleeting state, comes and goes, right? Happiness is equated with feeling pleasure or contentment, and not joy, ecstasy, bliss, or other more intense feelings. Now,
Bharti, may I interrupt? Is there a slide from your side, or
Yeah, you can not see it?
no, till now we didn't see any slide.
It's
Uh,
there. It's there.
it's there. Just try
I
and
can't see it, or shall I?
log out and
What
log
shall I
in.
do?
Probably could be some technical issue because I think everybody else can see the slide, right? Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just try logging out money. Okay. So I think some of you have done our emotional intelligence course, so you would understand the difference between joy and happiness, which Sita will take you through. So happiness is equated with feeling pleasure or contentment, right? Pleasure or purpose, that's always a continuum. That's where the happiness mostly fluctuates. Hence we ask the question, is it purpose driven, is it pleasure driven? And not joy, ecstasy, bliss or other more intense feelings. Happiness can be either feeling or showing. Happiness is not necessarily an internal or external experience, but can be both. Some people say that physically he is not happy. You don't need to constantly smile all the time to project happiness. That it's an internal sense of just, for like Saraswati was mentioning, contentment or fulfillment. I can be happy and you don't have to know about it, right? Because it's not an emotion on my face that you can see, like sadness or anger, right? So this is what happiness is. If everybody, can I move, or somebody wants to write notes? You can write as we go along. The recording will be shared, so you can always pause and go back, right? So don't worry about it. Now let's look at the evolution. Remember we spoke about luck. So how did happiness come into picture? This word that we so commonly call today. So it started with luck, that it just happens to someone. We do not really need to do anything specific to become happy. Either you are or you're not, right? Then philosophy came into picture. For all my philosophers or people who are interested in philosophy, we'll talk about these two types of happiness also. We'll do a proper deep dive on this too, because as practitioners, you need to understand this very perfectly, I would say. So there are two types of happiness that came into picture. One was hedonic. The other was eudaimonic. So you can write it down. You can make a column left hedonic, right eudaimonic, and we'll take you through what it is. Hedonic is happiness achieved through sustained pleasure. It is external. When I reach this goal, I feel. When I get that job, I feel, right? So it's always external, right? What more? It's always materialistic driven, right? It's like a sudden high that comes and goes. Eudaimonic, for most of you who mentioned about purpose, I think Ramesh and Saraswati included, life is a journey that one traverses with purpose, meaning, ethics, and happiness may be the end result, right? It's the end result. It may or may not happen. But the rest of things, because these are within my control, it's internal, it is guided by within. So hedonic is external, eudaimonic is internal, right? And an individual always fluctuates between both these polarities at all times in life. Then psychology gave us something interesting, right? Psychology said that if a person is normal, quote unquote normal, he is assumed to be happy. If a person is not normal, psychological intervention can help restore his status to normal. So the entire ideology of psychology came by rectifying mental illnesses. So psychology was never used for the good or seen in a positive light. What we now call as positive psychology did not exist. It was psychology, which means that if somebody is going through a mental illness or there's something mentally wrong, then a psychologist needs to step in, right? The term happiness and well-being are interchangeable now. So we are coming towards where we are now. Now let's move on to positive psychology. How did positive psychology come into picture? A normal person, whichever way you want to define normal, can become happier through psychological intervention. So that was a huge change. Now all these positive psychologists, whatever you like to call them, the whole idea started with this guy called Martin Seligman. We'll come to that and you can write it down for all my researcher friends who want to research more. Positive psychology came that how can we increase the level of happiness and well-being from normal to great. Till now, it was from mental illness to normal, that was psychology. But can we use psychology for the positive benefits of overall well-being of an individual? Happiness can be measured and factors affecting it can be ascertained. This is where the term subjective well-being came into picture, which we now call as SWB. So the word subjective well-being is now interchangeably used with happiness, and we will be using subjective well-being for most part of the program, right? Happiness is only used because it's the most popular word, right? So people who use happiness like us to promote our programs, if you honestly ask me, it is subjective well-being, because each person's definition of happiness is very subjective to your own well-being, right? So we don't use happiness. Happiness is just a popular word that, because it's used, it's easier for people to understand, so we kind of use it, right? So what is the current perspective where we are today? Hedonic and eudaimonic behaviors contribute to well-being in different ways, and therefore a mix of both is necessary. Hence, pleasure and purpose. So a mix of both is necessary. Happiness is neither a totally fleeting, momentary experience nor a stable, long-term trait. So again, very fluctuating, right? At least some portion of our happiness is set by our genetics, but the amount varies from about 10 to 50%. So a lot of people ask this question that my parents have always been happy. Does it mean that my kid will be happier? Yes, chances are, and the percentage fluctuates between 10 to 50%. So your genetics can predetermine how happy you are, but that's only up till then. The rest is a lot of other things, right? The pursuit and attainment of pleasure alone will rarely lead to happiness, which we know of. There are many sources that contribute to happiness. All right. So in terms of the evolution of happiness, that is where we began, from luck, history, it moved to philosophy, then it moved to psychology, then it moved to positive psychology, and now we stand here where we believe that people can be trained and it is a skill that can be learned. That's why we have a program on happiness practitioner. Anybody has any doubts? I can pause here or I can move forward depending on where all my friends are. Can we move ahead? Can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Therefore, can you
Okay, great.
can you say happiness has become a mindset issue now?
Oh yes. Yeah.
We can choose to be happy. We
Yes.
can choose to be happy irrespective. Okay, I was attending one of the training program where they said smile is most of the defense to any problems we are in. And he said it is smiling is as easy as shaking our hand. You just need to move your lip thing.
Yes, and you know
into a
what?
curve.
Very interesting you said. So there's something called I don't remember the name. It's called a decoy smile. I have this comb with me, okay? And this is what most people say. Like if you want to send a signal to your brain to be happy, either you have a pen, if you have a pen or anything, just keep it like this. This is apparently when you're happy, this is a smile. They teach you, okay, there's nothing wrong in that. Even we do this as part of a program, like Ramesh was saying. But if you instantly want to kind of send a signal to your brain to just be happy, either you can have a pen or a pencil, whatever you want. And we do this in our workshops also. It's just a temporary relief. Keep it like this. You can do this. I want everybody to do this. You have a pen. Keep like this, okay? Put your pen where whatever you have. I don't have a pen, okay? So keep it like this. Expand. Your cheeks should be here. Up. Saraswati, I want to see that smile. I want to see everybody's real smile. Come on, let's do it. This should be up. Hetal, try it out. Oh yes, Kavita, good. Keep it. No. Not like this. See. This should go up. Yes, money. Pratima doesn't have, but I can see her smile. It changes. Yes, Kavita, it can be more. This is my actual smile. Right?
So he was talking in a training program. There'll be some people who will ask questions, and we want to move on. Just smile. And he was giving an example. Count 1, 2, 3. I smile. He is just moving his things up.
Yeah.
So
No,
that
but
was
it works. Huh? I mean, he was not wrong. But there is a smile. This is called the Dichovai smile. We'll talk about this. So it just kind of, when you're not feeling like it, when somebody wants to see their actual smile, when they're actually happy, and I've tested this out, when I do this, it sends a signal and you suddenly start laughing. You don't even know why. So he's not wrong. Of course, it's a quick fix. But yes, it can be used just to give, a sense of, okay, and a smile goes a long way. So it's always good to smile. So thanks Rajesh for that. I would have forgotten otherwise. All right, great. Okay, if at any time things become too heavy, please let us know. The whole point is we want this to be very research based, and we want to give the maximum value to you as we can. Everything has a reason, so we are starting from zero, right? All right, so now that we have seen the evolution, we know where we are today. All right. Now, if you can see the guy on your left, this guy's name is Martin Seligman. You can write it down, Martin Seligman. He is the man who's probably the one person who kind of changed everything when it comes to psychology. He brought the whole concept of positive psychology. He's the father of positive psychology for anybody who's interested in psychology. He kind of started the whole thing. Now, what is positive psychology and why we need to know as happiness practitioners? Let's come to the why of it. If you can read with me, that will help us both understand this faster. Now, psychology has historically focused on negative, life-depleting aspects such as mental illness, trauma, suffering, depression, and pain. That is what psychology has always been used to cure. Like if it is a mental illness or a problem, I need to cure it, right? However, he kind of came with the concept of positive psychology. If you see, there are 3 levels there, right? From a depressed person, psychology took the depressed person to normal. But positive psychology wanted to understand, can we use psychology to take them to great, where they are living at the best optimum level of well-being for themselves, what we now call as subjective well-being. So that changed the game. People realized, oh, psychology can be used for this also, which we didn't know before, right? The most widely accepted definition of positive psychology is the scientific study of what makes life most worth living. So positive psychology, it's an entire movement, can be described as a study of what constitutes a pleasant, engaged, and meaningful life. You can write this down. Positive psychology movement can be described as the study of what constitutes a pleasant, engaged, and a meaningful life. These 3 parameters are important to lead a happier and purposeful driven life. Pleasant, engaged, and meaningful, right? For all my corporate trainers, I'm sure you've heard a lot of people say my employees are disengaged. This disengagement thing keeps hammering on to us, right, by our clients, that our employees are disengaged. Please come and do something. Please make them disappear, make the disengagement disappear. But disengagement is not just them not performing well at their jobs. There are a lot of components to disengagement also, which we will talk about when we come to flow state of exploration, right? Pleasant, engaged, and meaningful life. On the right, this guy's name is Ed Diener, E-D-D-I-E-N-E-R, Ed, E-D-D-I-E-N-E-R. He started the whole concept of subjective well-being, which we know of today. So these are both American psychologists, both from America. Left one is living, I think the right one expired on 2021. So if you want, you can do a little bit more research on this. A lot of books available also. So subjective well-being and measuring happiness, because as happiness practitioners, people will always ask you, can you measure this? Can you do an assessment with my people and tell me that somebody is happy or somebody is not happy? Yes, we can, right? One of the assessments we shared was that. As we go along, we will share others also. This is for people who are interested in using tools to measure happiness. So there are three components of a subjective well-being. SWB, that is what the terminology we will be using going ahead, subjective well-being. If you come down, the first is positive affect. How many pleasurable feelings you have throughout the day? Positive affect, right? Second is negative affect, the painful feelings. Remember, we talk about feelings, and for people who've done emotional intelligence, you know the difference between feelings and emotions, right? Emotions are not feelings. We know that. Anybody wants to explain me what is the difference between emotion and feeling? Okay, fine. We'll come to that. We'll come to that. But all my emotional intelligence friends should know this. You've done 15 days of this. Okay, all right. Negative effect. The third is life satisfaction. How satisfied you are with your life, which is composed of, it could be an imperfect assessment of positive and negative effect in one's life, and assessment of how well one's life measures up to aspirations and goals. So your life satisfaction is where you are currently versus where you thought you should be, right? Your aspirations. If the gap is too large, level of happiness decreases. If it is very close by, and if you're very close enough, it goes up, right? So SWB is measured through these three things. So in any test that we give to individuals, you measure these three things: positive effect, negative effect, life satisfaction. That is a measurement of happiness, right? So nobody can say I am happy or unhappy unless you take them through an assessment test, right? And these three parameters, even as practitioners, you can make your own assessments. It's not that difficult. You just have to ask a couple of questions and detect their pleasurable feelings, painful feelings, and life satisfaction. 3 questions. And if not, you can just simply ask the question that Dina asked, are you happy? How would you rate your happiness on a scale of 1 to 10? You can just ask that. How would you rate your happiness on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high? And are you satisfied with your life as a whole? In fact, when countries go for a World Happiness Report, this is the question that is asked. The entire World Happiness Report that we will talk to you about in the coming slides talks about this. They ask a very simple question: how would you rate your happiness on a scale of 1 to 10? And are you satisfied with your life as a whole? That's enough. That's it. No, nothing more. All right. So in case you want to ask someone, you can do that as well. Okay, are we clear till now? We have discussed about what happiness is, the origin of happiness, how it has evolved, what is happiness from a positive psychology point of view, and subjective well-being can be interchanged with happiness. Please note, the next session, every session, I will want a volunteer to recap the entire session in 5 minutes. Okay. So tomorrow we are just going to randomly ask somebody to recap this entire session in 5 minutes, right? So that we learn through each other. So even if probably some of the things skip, just go through the recording. It will be shared by tomorrow morning so that you can kind of revise before showing up for the session. Okay. So a quick slide just to kind of distill all the information we have till now. Happiness is a state, it's not a trait, it's not a long-lasting personality trait, but a fleeting, changeable state. Happiness is equated with feelings of pleasure or contentment, not joy or ecstasy. Happiness can be either feeling or showing. It is not necessarily an internal or external experience, but it can be both, right? Are we clear till now? Do we understand what happiness has been and what it has become now? Right? We are clear. Okay, great. In short, happiness is equal or greater to the events of your life minus your expectations of how life should be. Right? Remember, we spoke about life satisfaction, where we are versus where we need to be, and the gap. So happiness is equal or greater to, think of it as an equation if you want to simplify it and share it with someone. What is happiness? You can just tell them. Happiness is equal to or greater to the events of your life minus your expectation of how life should be. Right? The shoulds and the coulds and the this and the that. Okay, so you can, anybody who wants to write it down. You don't have to, it's up to you. You can always revisit. If you're going to give your test, it's just better if you write things down. It makes life easier. Okay, now we're going to do an exercise. Let me just take you through this, and then we're going to put you in groups to do the exercise, and then Sita will take you from there. Now, remember we spoke about two types of happiness, hedonic and eudaimonic. Okay, I want you to write this down. Understand this carefully because we're going to do an exercise after this. Okay, so pay a little bit more attention right now. Hedonic is pursuit of pleasure and avoidance of pain. So I will do anything in my capability to avoid pain in order to pursue pleasure. Okay. Eudaimonic is pursuit of meaning, a purpose, and it is self-realization. So comes from within, internal, right? Hedonic, like Ramesh was saying, short term, okay, it gives you that high and then it goes. Eudaimonic is long term. Hedonic, key components are pleasure, comfort, enjoyment, satisfaction. Eudaimonic, purpose, personal growth, contribution, something bigger than yourself. Okay. Motivation, external rewards and sensory experiences, right? Some people try to keep themselves happy by drinking alcohol or smoking or doing drugs. That's hedonic, or partying late in the night, could be anything. Eudaimonic, inner values, it's within. You derive meaning and purpose from within. How do you measure? Life satisfaction, positive emotions, lack of distress. Like Ramesh was mentioning, I bump into a friend, I get this sudden high, hedonic happiness, it goes after that, right? Eudaimonic, psychological well-being, self-actualization. What can be examples? Eating favorite food, watching movies, shopping can be hedonic. Eudaimonic can be volunteering or pursuing a passion, right? Developing your strengths. Sustainability, often temporary and fleeting, which is hedonic, and eudaimonic can be longer. It can be endured. Can lead to emptiness if overemphasized. Eudaimonic may require effort and may not always feel pleasurable. So eudaimonic is slightly more effort oriented, choice dependent, like Sadia was mentioning. You choose every day, right? It's a choice that you make. Okay. Do we have the difference clear to everybody? Hedonic and eudaimonic. These are two types of happiness. To give you quick examples, hedonic could be enjoying a meal, watching a movie or a TV show you love. It could be receiving compliments or praise. It could be even taking a relaxing bath, right? Short bursts of happiness. Eudaimonic can be helping others or volunteering. It could be personal growth and learning, like you guys are doing right now in this session. Spending quality time with loved ones, or working towards a cause you believe in. Something bigger, something that drives you, something that's purpose driven, right? So now that we have this, I want you to do a quick exercise, okay? Now, I think we'll do a pairing of 2 and probably one group can have 3, that's okay. So we'll put you in pairs and I'll take you through this exercise and we'll put you in a breakout room. The point is to kind of share and learn from each other's experience, and while figuring out what is hedonic and eudaimonic, just in a fun way, okay? So step 1, you need to reflect on your recent experiences as latest as last week and list two. I don't need more, just two moments when you felt genuinely happy. Now that you know the definition of happy, you can probably pinpoint better. Okay, two moments from the last week. It could be yesterday, it could be day before. Just take two. Okay. For each moment, you need to write where were you, right? Describe the event, who was with you, if it was with someone or if it was alone, and what were you doing, right? So an example could be I spent the afternoon having lunch with a friend in the park as a statement. So build a statement. Okay, don't write long paragraphs. It's going to waste your time. Build a statement as specific as this. Where were you? Who was with you? What were you doing? Okay. The next step, you have to identify which of these is H, hedonic, and eudaimonic, or it can be both. B. Okay. So now we know of these two moments. Was it hedonic, primarily driven by pleasure or relaxation, or eudaimonic, purpose driven, or was it both? It could be both also, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. The next step, reflect on what human need each experience fulfilled, right? So we have these four needs. The first is pleasure, which was immediate, gave you a sense of enjoyment, right? Second is connection. You felt a bonding with someone, meaningful relationships. Third is growth. You learned something new, right? Fourth, purpose. You were contributing to something greater than yourself. So in those two moments, moment one, moment two, once you identified, also mention what human need it fulfilled for you out of these four. Okay. Consider, the next step is consider how long the happiness lasted. Was it momentary, a few moments? Did it last for hours or a full day? Did it have a lasting impact on your mood over the next few days? Was it that eventful? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want all of you to individually do these sections. After you've done the sections, we'll pair you, right? When we pair you, we want each of you to discuss this with each other. Please give the other person to share their experiences. This is also an exercise in active listening, right? And then you say your piece and then we'll come back. Okay. I'll give you whatever 15 minutes. I think it's almost 8:50. So take the rest to do the exercise. Once all of you are done writing your individuals, just do a thumbs up so that we can put you in your pairs. Just do this, okay? And then we are good to go.
Bharti, I'm done.
All right. Okay, great, Manu. Guys, take today's time to complete this because we don't have.
Even I'm done.
Okay, great. Everybody who's done, keep it with you. We will do the pairing tomorrow because we are very close to finishing today's session. If we start the pairing, it's going to take a long time and I don't want
Okay.
that to happen. So keep your responses to yourself, reflect it over the night. Tomorrow, we'll start with the pairing where we will discuss and then we'll, as a group, reflect on our answers, right? So let's give time to people who've not finished. I want all of you to do this today so that it doesn't remain as a backlog, so that tomorrow we can do the pairing. Anybody who's not, just take the rest of the time, which is around 6 minutes, to complete the exercise. Okay, done? Everybody? You've noted this down? Okay, great.
Yes.
So for anybody who wants to, so there are a lot of people who when they join the program, they wanted to know if you can use these exercises. So these exercises, you can put your own twist and do it also in terms of when you're taking training sessions or workshops. That's the whole point of sharing, right? So whatever we share here, this is for you, right? If you want to be more creative and do a different version of this exercise, go ahead and do it. These are just starting exercises for people who want to teach others to start reflecting. Because when we're teaching you a concept of hedonic or eudaimonic, you need to be able to practically see and apply it in your real life. Only then it stays. Otherwise, those are just fancy science-based words. It makes no sense, right? So anything that we teach you as part of the program, you're free to use it in whichever capacity you want as a trainer or a coach. That's the whole point of doing this program. All right? Okay. We'll pause for today. I hope everybody has completed. Has everybody completed the exercise?
Yes.
Right? All of you?
Yes, Bharti.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, great. So tomorrow, guys, when we meet, we will have somebody revise this entire session. So let's give you all an opportunity to go through a recording, refresh yourself so that we have someone who can revise. Please make sure that you take just max 5 minutes. I need a summary. I don't need an entire session. Keep it to a very minimum 5 minutes of what we covered today, right? Just a quick revision. And then we move on to putting you in pairs in the breakout rooms, discussing this exercise. And then we move on to the next leg of the session, right? Any doubts or questions any of you have at any point, we keep the group open. The group is so that we can learn from each other. Even if it's a stupid thought or a stupid question, please put it. Through your questions, we learn, we can research better, we can probably add more value. So anything new or interesting you think you can add, please put it in the group. The group is meant for that. Any questions, any doubts, you're not understanding anything, a stupid thing you thought of that reminded you, oh, I should probably add it to this program, go ahead. Okay, we are open to taking all kinds of interesting insights. It just helps us make this program better for you. Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Thank you to my Indian and Malaysian friends for sticking around. It's almost 2 minutes till we end today's session. I hope we had a good start. There are a lot more to learn. Stay with us because sometimes it can be theoretical heavy, But don't worry, as practitioners, we need to learn the concepts so that we can deliver our best when we do deliver it to the right people. All right. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bharti. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to
Bye-bye,
all of you.
guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.